Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of In Between the Stitches. As always, I'm your host, Brady Wilson, with my co-host, Chase Olschwanger.
What's going on?
Zach Babb is going to be out today. He had some adult business to take care of. We're kind of adults. Well, you're more of an adult than I am.
Yeah.
But he had to, take care of some things. So, we don't have him here for the Stars. I believe they play tonight.
They do.
So, you've got Game 2. They... lost game 1. It was close.
Yeah.
It was they fought, and I think it was, and we're going to get into this in just a second with the same thing with the Mavs. They fought towards the end, but it is draft week. It is the draft tomorrow. Quick note: when I send this episode out, I'll also send out my draft guides because they are complete, done. We're done. We can. I was up.
Round of applause.
I was up till 7 a.m. Just a few hours ago, so did not get much sleep. May have to go get some Red Bulls or something just to make sure I can, function today and tomorrow and Friday and Saturday. But we'll start with the Stars. Again, lost, but they fought. And it sucks to lose a game at home, but Ottinger just wasn't on. Screw Vegas and their screwy rules and bringing Mark Stone back. Yeah, sure, he wasn't healthy a couple weeks ago. Sure, he looked real coming back from injury, in that game, but... this was worst case. I didn't even realize that we were facing Vegas because I just completely had forgotten last week to look at the games. Yeah. And I was scrolling on Instagram and I just saw first round matchup and I went, oh, no. Like the Grim Reaper was on my phone.
They lost the final game of the season
to Anaheim. It was like, oh no, you mean we got to face them again?
Yeah,
sucks.
Yeah. It was an unfortunate loss, and I'm pretty sure the Stars doubled the amount of shots that Vegas had.
Yeah,
unfortunately. The shots that Vegas had, there was a couple deflection goals, but unfortunately just could not save shots that were important to save.
I don't think that's a conducive way to win. So I still feel really confident in our chance to win the series, but I think this is going 7. I don't think this is going 5 or even 6. I think it's going 7. But.
It is a must win though. You don't want to say you don't want to put your pressure on the team that you're rooting for to have a must win this early, but because you were the home team, you can't lose both at home and then go to Vegas for 2 more.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you guarantee at least 1 more coming back home. Win tonight, you guarantee that. So the Stars, I think they played good. Every time that Vegas went up 2 or 1, they brought it right back. They answered. So now Ottinger needs to be a little bit better in goal, and I think the Stars have a good shot.
Yeah, I do too. And I hate to kind of breeze by the Stars a little bit, but again, we just have a lot to talk about as my mic is cutting in and out. Hold on.
You sound good. You sound good on here.
I sound good? Okay. As long as I sound good, it's cutting in and out of my ear. The Mavs. Game 1 was just... I turned it on. I was so excited, and then it just...
Yeah.
We faltered. But I went back to... It came to my mind, the Patriots, when they lost to Kansas City and they got walloped. You remember that game? I think it was in Foxborough. And Belichick was like... Going into halftime, I wasn't worried about winning the game. I wanted to see what kind of team we had. Are we mentally tough? Are we going to fight? And that was my thought, was I want to see if the Mavericks are mentally tough. Because that's been one of the problems with us, is that maybe they're not mentally tough, and they looked resilient. They did not just go down. No.
You wanted them, like you said, to come out in the second half, not down. Obviously, we were not going to win that game. There was 99% chance we weren't. But you wanted to see if the team could build off of something going into game 2. Because remember, like we said, on the road, you're not expected to win both. Of course, you would love to win both. But the important thing is just to split. And that's what they did. And the way that they ended game 1, obviously the second quarter was the worst second quarter in playoff franchise history. 8 points in the second quarter. 9 for 40 at halftime, which is just unheard of. Especially for the way that this team was scoring the ball throughout the whole regular season. And... they cut it to 12 and, lost by 12, and shots were falling. And you'd like to see that we can build off of that, know that we can get stops, know that we can score. It was just a really unfortunate first half. And the Mavs came out, great defense all yesterday. Everybody, Luka had a stat line. I think every time that he was guarding Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, or James Harden, they scored a combined total of 0 points on him. He was playing fantastic defense, and the team itself was playing fantastic defense, and there was other people outside of Luka and Kyrie offensively that stepped up. PJ had 18 points, 6 rebounds. Maxey had some good minutes. Let's see what else was there. Gafford was a little hurt, so he didn't really play much. Lively was good when he was there. But you'd like to see that there was other guys producing.
Yeah, the Mavericks just game 2 was they came out on fire.
Yeah.
And the Clippers just kind of I think they got punched in the mouth and they tried to they started they staged some comebacks there throughout the game, but the Mavericks showed to play good defense. Those last couple sequences were just I mean, Kyrie makes it. I thought the best play was either Kyrie's block or no the not the block, but he got his hand on the ball and Kid challenged it.
Oh, right at the end.
Like it was even a non-play. Like the fact is they may have got that was going to put him within even more striking distance.
Yeah, and then Kyrie ended up missing that second free throw. Later.
Kleba.
Maxey, Kleba got the rebound and got Kyrie back to the line and he made up for it. But no, when that first happened, I wasn't mad. I was very confused because a guy like Kyrie, a veteran like that, when you give up the 2 there, you don't foul and give someone an easy 3 points. And I was like, why is someone like Kyrie, a veteran like him, who knows we're okay with 2 points? And, Kid ended up challenging it. Kyrie got all ball. We got lucky. And then we were able to, make free throws, get clutch offensive rebounds, and ice the game. It wasn't a must-win game.
Then Luka almost threw an interception there.
But I said to my friends, only Luka makes that pass.
I thought that was a travel, too. I mean, it definitely looked...
Yeah, I mean, refs probably weren't calling that, especially with the way that Clay got away with the travel later in the regular season. I know you remember that.
Yeah, so it was a good play, I assume, Friday.
Yes, yeah. So when you travel back, you get an extra day off.
To get an extra day off,
yeah.
So you're off today,
and then it's Friday,
Thursday,
then it's Sunday. Yeah, and I will be going to Game 4 Sunday.
Well, you have fun with that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're not going to the draft.
Yeah.
That would have been like, but yeah, I think the Mavs definitely improved their outlook of winning the series. And Game 1s you're going to have reactions to it.
Yeah.
I thought that, again, the second half of that Game 1 told me, okay, they have a chance because they didn't just roll over and get killed 140-87.
Right.
They made it a little bit closer than maybe the score indicates. But that also indicates they played hard, they played tough, they played till the end, and they didn't just roll over and die.
Right. And you got to remember that this is outside of Luka, Kyrie, and obviously you got Kleba and Powell who have experienced the playoffs, but a lot of these guys haven't had any playoff experience, and you're playing up against 4 Hall of Famers who have been here. No, they have not won a ring, but they have been here, and they know what it takes.
I had to count. I'm like, wait a second, Kawhi, Paul George. Oh yeah, I mean,
James Harden, Russell Westbrook.
Paul George is probably the only guy that maybe is not as solidified as the other 3.
He'll be a Hall of Famer.
But he'll probably be a Hall of Famer.
But no, and it takes a lot out of guys like PJ this is his second playoff game, and to have as big of a game as he did shows a lot of improvement and a lot of confidence going forward.
Okay, you'll know this answer to the question. The only one that has a ring is Kawhi.
Yeah.
Because Westbrook wasn't on
Toronto.
that. Because Westbrook wasn't on that Lakers team
Nope.
when they won. Harden has bounced around so much more than a ping pong ball, so he can't. He wasn't on a team that won one. And then PG was Pacers, Thunder, Clippers.
Yeah.
So he hasn't won one. So you've got three Hall of Fame players hunting that legacy defining ring.
Right.
And Kawhi is just being Kawhi. So I think it's going to be a tough series. He's probably going to go 6 or 7.
Of course.
It was very, very encouraging results through the last 6 quarters of basketball. I'll say that.
Yeah. But nonetheless, huge win.
Yeah.
Again, wasn't a must win because you're on the road, and you're not expected to win both. So you want to make sure you win one, and the Mavs did that. Now they go home, series tied up. Got to make sure you definitely win one. You got to win. You got to win one.
Right.
But try to win both.
So if I mean that's the Mavs. Played well. So
played well. Good bounce back.
It is now my time to remind everybody of a simple fact, and I think that in these trying times, we need a simple fact, and that is that the Rangers are. I can't do it as good as Paul Heyman, and I don't want to do it right into the microphone. But if you're a wrestling fan, you get it. The reigning, defending World Series champions, your Texas Rangers, have fallen out of first place. Cue panic. Cue all of our, as my dad likes to say, as I kick the table. It's it's the weekly episode of me kicking the table when I shift my feet. I'm tall, so if you know me, you understand. There's just not enough room for my. But cue panic, and as my dad says, all the fans with the air quotes, that probably didn't know we had a team till 2010. They're panicking. Oh no! Okay, as Bochy said, we're banged up. Seager didn't have a spring training. Lowe didn't have a spring training. Young is hurt. Garcia didn't have a normal spring training because of the workload. Carter and Langford are still trying to get fully adjusted to the big leagues. I know that Carter was like that in the playoffs, but the league didn't have the book on him.
Yeah,
he was kind of a, hey, we know he's going to take pitches. Just don't leave anything, and the league has figured things out.
Yeah.
And so now it's their time to adjust. And this happens. People expect top prospects to come in and be Juan Soto. Because when top prospects do that, then the expectation becomes for the rest of them, they need to be, just, kicking butt and taking names, and they need to be just, burst through the door and come out swinging, hitting 400 with 10. Langford not having a home run does, it's not worrying. It's just, it shows you that spring training is spring training.
Yeah.
And it's why that it's good for prospects to have good spring trainings. But I think that if the Rangers had Mitch Garver this year, or let's say they went out and signed JD Martinez, Langford, I don't think would have made the opening day roster. I think he was making it even if he struggled, but he was battling. So I think the Rangers were pretty set on him as their DH to start the season. I think they didn't want to let people know that, because teams don't want people to know what they're doing. So I'm not worried about the team. I'm not worried about the offense. They're starting slow. It happens. Your pitching is banged up. We know this. You started out a little bit slow last year in April, and then May, June came, and you caught fire. And then July came, and you kind of middling, August kind of middling, and then that September, we all know, you plummeted.
Yeah.
So and then you limped into the playoffs, and then you did what you did there. So baseball is 162 games. Let's not overreact. Let's not worry.
What are we, 24 games in?
Yeah, we're 12 and 12. 20. You are not even halfway to a third of the season of away.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. You're not even, because halfway, because a third is 54 games. You're not even half of that. You're 3 games away, but you're not even there at the time of recording. So, no, I'm not worried about the Rangers.
About going back to Langford, he's hitting the ball well.
He's hitting it.
He's lining out.
He's lining out. It's the old Chris Davis.
Right.
And I mean with the C, because Davis 0 for 54. Go back and watch some of those. Some of those BABIPs on that, if you don't know what that is, batting average on balls in play. Some of those or expected batting average on some of those hits were like, out of 10 hits, that's a hit 9 times, but the one time it wasn't was when Davis hit it.
Yeah.
So that, there's things that happen with that, or the shift affected it. I'm not worried about Langford. He's seeing big league pitching. AAA and big leagues, there's a gap there. It's not as seamless as some people, I think, like to think it is. There's a gap. And a year ago, he was in the College World Series seeing college pitchers. So, and then people were worried about Jack Leiter. I'm not worried. His stuff looked good.
Yeah.
He had to battle. Leote had a misplay out there in center field. He was up for a start to get a cup of coffee in the bigs and then go back down. People, I think, do they not remember that we won? And how do we win? Bochy and the steady hand of Bruce Bochy guiding us through a season, and us, through rough waters, through calm waters, the ship never wavered, at least in terms of the team. And I don't think they're doing it now. I think fans are doing it because fans are going to do that. But I'm trying to teach fans to,
listen, how do you
get on board with the team.
How do you think, I hate talking about them on our show, but the Astros, is there a level of concern, at least from you? Not that we're happy at what they're doing right now for, as a Ranger fan, but just from a baseball perspective, is there a level of concern with the Astros?
Oh, it's almost panic, I think, because it's not that you were expecting to come out and just road grade everybody, just bulldoze them into the ground.
But what are they, 11 games under 500?
Yeah, they haven't been this bad since, I think, like 2016, so before they won the World Series. So I think, or 2014, it's one of those years. I think there's panic in Houston in terms of if Dusty was there, it'd be they're a sleeping giant. Don't wake the sleeping giant. Keep kicking them while they're down. You may think they're dead, but they're not.
Right.
But I think with Espada, they just don't seem. To me, they kind of remind me of the old Casey Stengel quote when he was when he was managing the expansion Mets. This team finds new ways to lose I didn't know were possible. And I know people go, well, it seems to be the same loss every night. Bullpen comes in and blows it. But there's just, outside of Blanco, they're not getting any starting pitching.
No.
Outside of, I can't name one reliever that's performing well right now. I know.
Hader's been bad, but Brady's been bad. Presley's been bad.
Yeah. All you Ranger fans, I'm putting the microphone right up to my face here. All you Ranger fans that wanted to sign Hader, here's why you don't pay premiums for relief pitching. This is case. I know Edwin Diaz, but there are outliers. That's why those guys go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Right? There are outliers as closers, but there's a reason there is not a single Hall of Fame closer outside of probably Kenley Jansen in baseball. Kimbrel's been too up and down in his career, I think. I think Jansen's always been steady. But other than Jansen, there's not a single closer that I think is that level. And there's not Diaz is pitching well again. But
listen, Edwin Diaz is Edwin Diaz. He's the best reliever in the game when he's healthy.
Hader, I think the best reliever in the game, Devin Williams, when healthy.
Yeah,
probably.
sure. But,
probably. It's either him or Diaz, I think. It's probably either one of those two guys, maybe Class A's in the conversation.
Sure. Should have been Ranger.
But but I think there's panic in Houston. At least if I'm a Houston fan, I'm even in more panic than the Rangers. Because the Rangers, we know, okay,
we're hurt.
We were hurt. We're not in a groove. We just came off a 17 games in 17 day streak.
Yeah.
People were, we had an off day. Okay. You work for 17 straight days and then take one day off. See if you feel better. You'll feel a little bit better, but you're going to need more than that.
Yeah.
So, and you're facing a good Mariners team. Logan Gilbert is starting to creep into that number one ace caliber conversation.
And Bryce Miller, who's on the mound tonight, has been unbelievable. And, they got guys, we're not seeing him, but Luis Castillo, that team is deep.
And Dunning didn't have a great start, and we didn't take advantage of that. We over 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position.
And, of course, the bullpen was good yesterday.
The bullpen was good yesterday. Urania's pitched, and I want to say I missed on Jared Walsh, but I hit on Urania in terms of spring training. I was a huge fan of picking him up. I've always thought that he just kind of got bad shakes, and he needed to – I thought relief pitching would have been better for him. I like power sinkers because it moves.
Sure.
If that's something I've always liked as a baseball fan, but – he's been pitching well. Latch has been pitching, I think, about where you would expect him to pitch, which is one night he may come in, strike out 2, short little pop out, and he's done. And some games he may come in, he struggles.
Yeah.
This is going to happen. Spores is on a rehab assignment, so he's coming back. Leclerc gave us a scare. It was 4-0, but, at the wall, but he's starting to pitch a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Yates and Robertson are...
Yates has been unbelievable.
I think they're as advertised. Yates looks like his 19 form that he had that year? It was either 18 or 19.
In Atlanta?
No, with San Diego.
Oh, okay.
Yates looks like that closer that saved 40 games. Robertson has always been a steady, just, good player. But when you learn how to throw a cutter from the man who had the greatest cutter of all time, you're going to have a pretty good one. And He's also got that really nasty curve. I've always liked his curveball because I like knuckle curves are really fun to watch if you can control it. It's a little harder to control because of the grip, but I like where the Rangers are at. We weren't going to commit this much time to the Rangers. I feel bad for the Mavs and the Stars, but I feel okay about where we're at. Dunning didn't have a great start. Gray is starting to find his groove. We're going tonight, so hopefully Gray gives us a good start as it's, Corey Seager bobblehead night. So you know me, I'm at the bobblehead.
Yeah, I knew you were going. I saw this on the. I was watching the game. A couple days ago. It's like, oh, I want this. So I text Brady. I'm like, you want to go? He's like, yeah, let me buy tickets.
Yeah,
so we bought tickets.
I'm going to the game. So, I think that it's not panic time for us. I would be hitting that. I'm going to rephrase my statement. I'm starting to get to panic mode if I'm the Astros, because the Rangers, we have hope. We're not in a groove. Guys are banged up. And we have pitchers that are banged up Scherzer's about to go on a rehab assignment to Round Rock, which I was really hoping he'd go to Frisco for a start and we could go. But if it was tonight, it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
Malley's coming back. DeGrom's coming back. Lorenzen looks really good in his 2 starts. So I think for the Rangers, there's hope that the pitching is going to get better and that the hitting is going to find its groove. These guys are, come on now, they're professionals. And it's 162 games. You're not going to be hitting I think the playoffs, and I agree with this because when I watch games, I have to remember it's just a regular season game. Again, it's kind of hard to come off of that. In the playoffs, it's all condensed. So the production, if you get on a tear, it just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot more condensed of a sample size. And when every hitter in our lineup clicked, every player except for Robbie Grossman and Travis Jankowski that started a game in the playoffs had at least one home run in the playoffs. And Janko got one robbed by stupid
Kyle Tucker.
Butt-faced Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
So arguably Jankowski should have had one. So that, and everyone else had except for Grossman, had a home run.
Yeah.
At least once. And a lot of them had multiple series. The only guy that I think only had one, I think Lowe had 2, Baltimore and Houston.
Did Simeon have just only versus Arizona?
No, Simeon had the 2 against Arizona.
Or was it 2? Okay.
Yeah, yes, they didn't hit one game 4 and game 5.
Yeah.
Obviously Seager and Garcia were lights out. Garver had the big one against Baltimore and had one against Arizona. That was our one run in game 2.
Mm-hmm.
And he also had one, I think, in
It wasn't a home run. It was just
no, in game 2.
Oh, it wasn't. That was the only
off
run.
Kelly.
Yeah.
It was a pitch that was like on his knee, and he somehow golfed it out there.
Yes.
But again, my point here, and by the way, good for Garver. I hope he starts tonight because I really want to give him his. I want to be able to give him applause. I don't care what team he plays for. I don't care how long he plays. He should always get a little clap when he's announced. Yeah. When he comes up to bat, maybe not. When he's announced in the lineup, I think he should always get applause from the Rangers fans.
Did you hear the Rangers flew him and his family out to see the Rangers celebration?
Yeah, that was really cool. And
Very
the Rangers are a good we are a class organization.
Yes.
But again, I'd say it's getting panic time for Houston. It's nowhere near panic time for the Rangers. I would say panic time for me would be if you're in the All-Star break and you're below 500 after having Scherzer come back and everything, and you're below 500.
Yeah.
Even if you're around 500, I'd say 500 or plus 5 above, I'd be kind of inching more towards. If I'm below, I am starting to hit a little bit of that. Okay, you're running out of time to hit that groove I'm talking about, basically. But that's it for the Rangers. Hopefully we can. I mean, I'm not worried. I'm not. Zero worries from me, and I think everyone else.
Might just take that one game where you get, where you have a 15-hit game. Might just take that one game. Get people's bats hot.
Then that happens, and again, I think it's just you're banged up. I think it's again you played until November 1st last year.
Yeah,
guys may be tired still. I mean, I know that was months ago, but still, it's
of course.
I'm not worried, and I don't think anyone else should be. But now we're gonna get to the thing that I know you can tell I've been waiting on.
Of course,
because finally. And I am so happy to announce, and I want to make a note because we didn't announce it, but this is a sad, somber thing, so I hate to do it. But Albany edge rusher A.J. Simon passed away. I believe it was last week, and so he's on my board at 501 because I didn't want to. My favorite movie of all time is Major League, and I didn't want to do this guy here is dead. We'll cross him off. I don't want to cross him off the board and just and put on my cut list. Well, he died. So he's on the board as an honorary board member, but he's 501. So the board really ends at 500. He's on there because I didn't want to be heartless and cut him off. But the last player on the board is actually a guy I read about from, in case anyone's curious, I read about from Dane Brugler's mock. Not his mock, his draft guide. Praise a lot of K, I think is how you pronounce it. He ran like a 4.36. He played in the Ohio State Football Club. So like they're like, their club team. But he's from Nigeria. He was a track guy. I don't know if he's draftable. That's why I put him at 500 and just like I needed an extra guy to put on the board. And I thought, what the hell? 4.36 is NFL speed. So I put him on there because I think he may be international player program. So that's why I put, international IPP on there. But it's just a fun little guy to add at the end of the board. But everyone else did go to a college. I have one UNT guy here at 487, Mason Richards, or I don't know if it's Mason or Mason. It's gonna sound really off. I didn't watch a lot of UNT football, so
beats me.
An edge rusher from us. I know there's a receiver and I think a couple corners that may get some UDFA looks. My draftable players ends at 298. So, and that's Dijon Edwards, running back from Georgia. My top 7th round guy is Daquan Hardy from Penn State. The bottom of the 6th round is Frank Gore Jr. From Southern Miss. The top of the 6th round for me is Chow Smith-Wade, just a corner from Washington State. 5th round bottom is, Gore is 260. Wade is 202. Then Isaiah Davis, 201, running back, South Dakota State. He's bottom of the 5th round. Top of the 5th round is where you get, so there's some really good players up there. Jalen Green, edge from James Madison, really productive. My last player in the 4th round is 143, Will Reichard. I like putting. Yeah. I wanted to put a kicker in there, and then Isaiah Adams is my top 4th round player available at 107. So I had a lot of 3rd round grades. He's a guard tackle potential convert from Illinois at 107. But my top 3rd round guy is Cooper Beebe, who's the guard from Kansas State at 865. My last 3rd round guy is Trevin Wallace, the linebacker from Kentucky. My top 2nd round guy is Xavier Worthy. It's been that way for the entire time at 32. Bottom of the 2nd round is Patrick Paul, the long arm 6'7" tackle from Houston. My bottom of the 1st round guy has been the same since I evaluated. It's Xavier Legette at 31. And then my top player in the draft, number 1, is Marvin Harrison Jr. The big changes that has happened since I last spoke to everybody was McCarthy moved up to the 1st round. I think he's at 28 now. 29, excuse me. And we made a change at the top. Now what's cool is I have players now. I have former teammates that are in college football. And texted with a teammate of mine at Arizona State, and I asked him what he thought of Caleb Williams, and here's his quote. Quote, he's the best QB in the class. Playing a guy like him as a DB, you have to be ready to cover for a long time because of his ability to extend plays and avoid sacks. So, and I know this guy. I don't want to put his name because I don't know if I'm, you know what I mean? Yeah. This is my first time getting a source, so right. I don't know how this works, but I would trust that if he were to say he sucked, he would say it. He wouldn't. He's not the guy to just praise a guy because he doesn't want to. He would tell me, oh, this guy sucks, Brady. Like he's not good. And I'm trying to talk to my buddy at Ohio State about Marvin, seeing if I can get, since the draft show is going to look a little different because of the fact that our studio had some technical difficulties and it may have to move, so it may look different. We were going to be able to take callers. Now we're not going to be able to do that. And I was going to try to see if we could have him call in, be like, hey, we can tell you about Marvin, but here's a guy that played with him. So, but that's not going to be the thing that happens this time, so it kind of sucks. But hopefully, I can give you a comment from him about Marvin. But my board is pretty set in stone. And again, I'm going to send it out to everybody when I send the podcast out. So you're going to get two for one. You're going to get the podcast and you're going to get all my draft guides. The final tally is 175 player evaluations. Some of them you can kind of tell that maybe they were late at night because I didn't write a ton. And I don't mean that to say I kind of didn't put full effort. I put full effort into all of them, but there were just some that I didn't have much to say about. That happens when you evaluate 175 guys. But right. I think the last player I evaluated, I went to the 6th round. I know I did because I evaluated Frank Gore. But I don't believe anybody in the 7th round was somebody that I No. So my last player that I have a write-up on is at 260 with Frank Gore.
All right.
Every single player in the first 4 rounds, with the exception of Javon Solomon at 126. And the only reason was I wanted to fit him in, but he had 16 sacks at Troy. So I felt the need to put him in the 4th. Him and Riker, the only 2 4th-round guys I did not do a write-up on. But now, we're going to get to our mock. Final mock. This is the one that we're going to use tomorrow. Obviously, there could be a trade that really screws it all up, but I don't think a trade's going to happen until these teams get on the clock and see who's there. That's what I think. Now, I can be wrong, but it has happened before. Now we're going to get to the mock.
Let's do it.
I bet you our first, and so this is no trades because predicting, but we will mention, hey, I think this team may move out.
Yes.
I think our first 4 is probably the same. I've got it Williams, May, Daniels, Harrison.
A little different.
Did you flip May and Daniels?
I got Williams, Daniels, May, Harrison.
And I don't know if I can't remember if I just mentioned this. I said a lot of words there. I made a change to my top of my board. So 1, Marvin Harrison. 2 was Caleb Williams. And I know what my buddy said, but I think Daniels' skill set and his mindset translates better to the NFL than Williams. And so I did flip Daniels to 2, Williams to 3. May move down to 6, I believe, for me. It's not because I don't like Drake May. It's just because I questioned some things, and I moved Alt to 4 and Neighbors to 5.
All right.
So just a little quick, thing there. But we'll talk about these guys tomorrow in depth. I'll give you my in-depth analysis. So will Seth. So will Chase. But I think that I think Washington likes May better. I think Quinn likes May because I think he reminds him more of Matt Ryan.
Sure.
But we'll see.
And if I was going all out, I'd probably have a team like Minnesota trading up to the 4 spot.
Yeah, that's something we want to note. Arizona's getting out of there.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're getting out. I think it's either New York, Minnesota, Denver, or the Raiders moving up. The Vikings have a problem in that all they can really offer of note is their 2 firsts. And according to the draft chart, it works out math-wise. They're giving up more points. But will the Cardinals value it that way as well? I don't know. So
yeah, but we're just going based off of the board. Yeah.
5, Neighbors, Chargers.
Neighbors.
Again, we've kind of talked about these players ad nauseum, so I won't go full in depth again. At 6,
and we will tomorrow. I mean, when each guy gets drafted,
Yeah, you have to tune in tomorrow if you want to hear what I have to say
for
about
sure,
it, or read my guides. And you can comment on them too. I have commenting turned on. I have McCarthy at 6.
McCarthy at 6
to the Giants. Alt at 7 to the Titans.
Alt at 7.
Then I finally caved, and because I think it's what's going to happen, I'm going to laugh at them when they do it, but I think Dallas Turner at 8 to the Falcons.
I have Dallas Turner, but I'm not going to be surprised if Jared Verse gets picked here.
Wouldn't be surprised if it's Verse. And I watch out for Latu as well. I know the medical thing, and I have him falling out of the first.
Wow.
But just watch the medical for him. If he falls, it's the medical.
Okay.
He's the best edge in the class. I have him at 15. But the medical thing is an issue for a lot of teams. 9's Odunze. They seem to be in on him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not buying it because I don't think Chicago goes another receiver first round, or not another receiver, but adds another receiver that high. I think I have.
You think it's smoke? You think it's smoke screen?
Yeah.
For the brother team?
Yeah. No, I'll go to the next 2 picks because just backing off of what we're talking about. But I have Jared Verse to the Bears at 9, and then Rome Odunze to the Jets at 10.
Okay, I got Bowers at 10 to the Jets. I think they want to add a tight end. I think
I like that.
Bowers is the one guy in the first that's he is a luxury pick. Bowers could fall to a playoff team because of that. There's a lot of teams that have needs. There's a lot of good players that can fill those needs. So Bowers may fall. If the Jets don't pick him, I don't see a team drafting him until maybe the Colts, maybe I just don't see a team drafting him for a while.
Yeah.
If he falls out of the 10 there. 11, I got Penix going because, again, no trades, so nobody moved up. But I think there's going to be a lot of trades on tomorrow night. It's going to be crazy.
I'm with you there, too.
And then I know we're going to laugh at them when they do it, but I think the Broncos, even trading for Zach Wilson, I need to go Bo Nix. And I think they know they can get him at 12. But don't be surprised if they move to 10 or 9 to try to secure their quarterback. And maybe if the Vikings don't trade out, to leapfrog the Vikings and make sure that they can get their guy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and we'll talk about this more, but I have them actually, the Broncos trading to the 23rd pick, which is the Vikings first round pick. But I have them going Kenyon Mitchell with their with the 12th pick.
I got Mitchell next. The Raiders get on the board. There's no quarterbacks left. I mean, Rattler, Pratt, you're talking about day 2 guys.
Yeah.
So I think they know they can get a day 2 guy. I think they're going to go Mitchell. I think you've got to get an outside corner because I think you've got Jack Jones, who's a slot corner out there. I know that he played outside, but I think he's better in the slot. I think you want to get Mitchell out there. I think he's the best corner in the draft.
I got Fuaga to the Raiders.
I got Fuaga to the Saints there, 14. I think you want to kick, and this is where the run on tackles is going to start. I think at 14.
Yeah.
Because I've got 4 of the next 5 picks being tackles, including Saints.
I got a lot as well. And for the Saints, I have them going Fashanu.
And then I've got Fatanu going 15 to the Colts.
Okay.
And you have?
I have A.D. Mitchell.
Okay, that's it. I think you want to address offensive line. I think you want to get somebody that's.
I think they want to compete with Houston for that receiving
I think
depth.
Fuaga fits what they want to do on offense, which is they want to space Richardson out. They want him to throw deep. They got deep guys. Pittman and Pierce are both kind of they're vertical threats because they're both tall and can go get the football.
I mean that right there just described A.D. Mitchell.
And Fatanu's the best. He's one of the best movers in the class. Alt is in a. I want everyone to know Alt's in a class of his own. I think Alt is Joe Thomas.
Yeah,
he is the best tackle I've ever seen in doing film. So in saying that, there is a drop off, but it's more like a drop off to 10 with you know what I mean. It's the big group of tackles there in the middle of the first round. Fatanu is probably the best mover, the pure mover of them all, which is why I think guard could be where he goes.
Sure.
16 to the Seahawks. I got Latham. Again, the tackle is just it's wiping the board clean of tackles at this point.
Yeah, I got Fatanu there,
and then I got A.D. Mitchell going 17 to the Jags. I think they want to get a receiver, help Lawrence out. I don't know.
I don't really know where to go with you there. I kind of just went BPA. But
yeah,
I haven't going like Latu.
That is kind of a BPA point for Jacksonville because they have a pretty good roster.
Yeah.
Bengals, I think, want to get offensive line. I think Fashanu does fall. There are some rumors that he does, some rumors that he doesn't. Is it smoke? Is he the second? He's my second tackle. But at 10 on my board, but other people may think that, he's not there. I don't know. But, and I think he could kick the guard for a time, kind of like Tyler Smith.
Yeah, actually, I made a mistake. I have Fatanu to the Bengals at 18. I have Byron Murphy to 16 to the Seahawks.
Well, this is interesting. According to Fox 59, Jim Irsay is eyeing move for Marvin Harrison Jr. to play for father's former team.
Wow.
That would be a very pricey trade up to 4. But could you imagine Anthony Richardson and Marvin Harrison Jr. in the same offense? I think you go get him.
Yeah.
I think you pay whatever you need to go. I think they need a receiver, but I think 15 is a little bit too high. So I think a trade back there. If a team wants to move up for one of the tackles or move up for one of the edge guys, 15 is a great spot to do it. But because no trades, I have them sitting there and taking a tackle. Where were we? We were at Rams,
we're 19
right?
now to the Rams.
Sorry, I'm getting off track. I've had the same pick, Byron Murphy. I think he's the 3 technique that can replace Aaron Donald.
I have them going Terrion Arnold.
Where did you have Murphy before? Did I miss him?
I had Murphy in my third draft. I had him Bears reaching on him at 9.
Okay.
And now I'm more realistic draft. I have him going 16 to the Seahawks.
That's right. Okay, I'm sorry. I think I skipped your Seahawks pick. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, you're
fine. I did not get sleep. I got Amarius Mims at 20. I think they want to pair up the Georgia tackles, him and Broderick. And Mims, I think his feet are a little bit clunky, so maybe he moves to guard, but I think he's a really fun tackle prospect. He's a developmental guy, but I think he's a really good one.
I have the Steelers going J.C. Latham.
I mean, yeah, you can interchange him there. The Dolphins are going to reenact the Legion of Zoom with Hill and Waddle, and the rumor is they're targeting Xavier Worthy.
And crazy.
I'm buying it, so I'm going Worthy here
I still have them going Jerzon Newton. That Christian Wilkins replacement.
Yeah, that's it's either probably gonna be Worthy or Newton
or Murphy.
Whoever they're talking. I would also say, because I know there's some fluttering rumors about Darius Robinson from Missouri creeping up into that first round. He was a D tackle that moved to edge, and he plays like it.
Yeah,
he's the best. He's probably the best run defender in the draft in terms of edge.
Sure,
if it's not verse, but watch him there. I think because he fits kind of that. But I think it's either going to be their top-rated defensive lineman or Worthy would make sense. Plus, what conference are they in? They're in the AFC. You want to keep Worthy out of Kansas City's hands.
Yeah.
Because that would be very bad for everybody involved. At 22, I know the Eagles have talked about tackle. I think that is more of I don't want to call it a smoke screen, but I think that's more of a fake rumor. I think they want corner.
Yeah.
I think Terran Arnold makes a lot of sense here, and it's good value.
I have Cooper DeJean.
I have Jerzon Newton at 23. I think they need someone. There's no one on that interior that's stopping the run, that's scaring you. I think they need somebody. Newton's my top D tackle. I've got him at 13. I'm higher on him than some other people are, but I think, and I know people call him Johnny Newton. It's Jerzon Johnny. So if I call, I'll probably mix both in. But Newton is a really good player.
And this is where I have the Broncos trading with the Vikings for the 23rd pick, and I have them going Bo Nix. He falls.
I don't want to say this is kind of wishful thinking for Dallas, because I could see this player going at 18. I could see him going at 20. I could see him going at 20. I could see him going at 22. But in my draft, he falls to 24, and I have Graham Barton, the guy from Duke. He can play tackle. He can play guard. He can play center. He's probably going to be best as a center. There's your center. Let's move on to day 2. Although, as a Cowboys fan, I really want to trade back. If you trade back, you're getting out of Graham Barton territory. But I know that we're going to need to get. I think we have to get. I know the Cowboys had that stupid press conference yesterday, and I don't want to talk about it because I will go on a 15-minute rant about that press conference. But Stephen Jones was on 105.3, and he was talking about, are we going to trade back? He's like, well, I don't know. We traded our 4 for Trey Lance, and we like Trey and rah, and that there goes your 4. And I'm like, yeah, you have 4 starting positions to fill, and you don't have 4 picks to fill it with.
Yeah.
Unless you are praying that somebody medical falls to you in the 5th, I don't see where unless you think Tolbert's going to make a leap, or Austin Richards is going to make a leap, or you're going to kick Smith out. You can configure this to where maybe you think Rico's going to make a leap. But I think you want to go get a running back. I think they want to go get a receiver, a tackle, and a center. Barton fits the center role. And you have?
I have Graham Barton.
That makes so much sense. I think the Packers, Gutekunst is a BPA guy, but he also really likes to move up and down the board. So I could see, but I think this year's a year where he wants to stay, and I think that he wants to take BPA here because he doesn't have a lot of needs, and I think corner's the only really true need on their team. So I have him going Cooper DeJean.
Okay.
I think he fits what they do on defense. I think that he is he would be their best player available. When they drafted an Iowa player last year, I cannot remember his name, Lucas Van Ness.
Yeah, Lucas Van Ness.
So going back to the Iowa well, I think they seem to like the Iowa defensive players. So
yeah, which was the main story of their team. I got Amarius Mims to the Packers. I think the only other need outside of defense could just be bolstering up that offensive line again. With Bakhtiari never being healthy on the field, getting older.
Mims makes sense because of how young they are and that he's developmental.
Yeah,
definitely makes sense there. I've got Verse at 26. I think that's tremendous value for what you're getting out of Jared Verse.
He could go anywhere in the top. He can go in the top 10.
Yeah, he could be going there. So I think that Tampa Bay is rushing. They're running that card up to 26. But you have?
Tampa Bay going Jackson Powers Johnson.
I mean, yeah, offensive line could be something they go to. Cardinals, I think, want to address slot corner. Maybe they want to address, they address receiver. But I think, a team could trade up for that pick at 4. So I think that they could go receiver there, here, somewhere. I got Nate Wiggins here, though.
I got Nate Wiggins as well.
28 with the Bills. I got Brian Thomas. I think they got to go receiver, and I think he fits Josh Allen perfectly. He's tall. He can run. He can do everything. I mean, he looks a lot like I don't want to say a smaller Randy Moss, but there are a lot of similarities to Moss.
Yeah, I have them going with Brian Thomas Jr. as well.
It's funny to say smaller, and he's 6'3".
Yeah,
but so a little bit shorter. But I got, and again, I've had it the same. And you know that I have been so vocal about this. I could be wrong, but I there was one player this year that I watched film and I said, that player is a Dan Campbell player. That player fits what they do on defense. He plays like I'm going to bite your kneecaps off. And they have a need in that nickel role because, Gardner Johnson is gone. So you need someone that can play that role. I think Mike Sainer still fits so perfectly with them. I think it is a marriage made in heaven in the first round. I think he's a terrific player, but I think that he fits Detroit better than any other player fits any other team in the draft.
Yeah.
You have?
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
I mean, yeah, I think corner could be where they go, but McKinstry strikes me as an outside guy. I think corner is what they're going to address, but you know that Dan Campbell's an outside-the-box thinker, so I just want to make a note on cornerback. That is not what I wanted to click, is look out for Rakestraw or Rakestraw and Tampa.
The Missouri corner?
Yeah, look out for some of those guys because they like to do things differently. Jarvis Brownlee fits their style of play too out of Louisville, but he's more of a late day 2, early day 4 guy, or day 4, early day 3 guy. So, but we'll see what they do. 30 of the Ravens, I got Jordan Morgan. He could kick the guard. I think he's a better tackle, but again, another guy that could kick in if you wanted him to. I think they want to get younger on the offensive line.
I can definitely see that too, but I have them actually going Keon Coleman.
That would be interesting.
It would be interesting because I know they just re-signed Rashad Bateman, but they lost Odell, they got Zay Flowers. I think they want to add that third piece, especially when Bateman has been 50-50 on the field, off the field.
Yeah.
So I think, addressing another receiver, a guy that can do it all, Keon Coleman could be a good fit.
And I think at this point in the draft, with the last two guys, the last two picks, they're taking BPA. I mean, I know that Kansas City needs a receiver, but they're taking best receiver available.
Sure.
So, okay, BWA, best receiver available. I think San Francisco is truly taking BPA. I think they're one of the few teams in the first. I think they're probably the only team in the first round that really doesn't have a clear, concise. They absolutely need this. I could see receiver because of Debo and Ayuk, and maybe you don't extend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think they want to get younger in the offensive line. I think that they're gonna take a tackle. They're gonna redshirt him, and I think it's Tyler Guyton. I think he fits. He plays a little bit like Trent Williams. I think he really fits that style of offensive line play, but I think he's a little bit rough around the edges, and I think he needs, a little bit of time. Heck, I know that a poor man's Trent Williams was, I thought, a comp for mine, but no, I guess not. But Guyton fits what they want to do he fits them. You have
Tyler Guyton. We're on the same boat there.
And then my pick, I'm going to let you go first from the Chiefs because I've kind of saved this one. So who do you get?
I know we were talking about it, and he fell on my board. So, not fell, but he's there. Xavier Worthy.
My board, I think they want to go get the fast, the quick. If you want to go fast, quick receiver, okay, then your options are actually pretty good when you get to that 32 range. Because after that, and I know Leggett may go here too, but Pearsall, Franklin, McConkey, Roman Wilson, or Jamari Thrash all fit that speedy role that you just know Kansas City loves.
Yeah.
I think the best of those guys, I think it comes down to 3 players if the board falls this way. I don't think Leggett, I don't think they want to go with the power guy. I think Pearsall, Franklin, McConkey. I have it Pearsall, Franklin, McConkey, 1, 2, 3 there. I think they go McConkey. I think he fits them.
It could be cool.
I think he's creative. Pearsall, it's not that Pearsall and Franklin aren't creative, but they're more of the straight line athlete. McConkey's more of that Edelman type athlete where he just gets open. He just gets open. And I think that he fits. Kansas City likes guys that create because that's what Travis, like they were asking Luke Kuechly. Kelsey doesn't run routes.
No, he gets open.
Kelsey finds holes in the defense, and I think McConkey has a very, very similar skill set.
Yeah, I like that.
So those are our mocks. This is what we think is going to happen. We're not going to compete to see who gets more right.
No.
But I also will award points if a team trades up and down and takes the same player. That you are right. It's one of those. I had the right person, just not the right location, right? And so I think you still get a point for that.
Sure.
But we will be referencing these tomorrow. Just so keep yours handy because I'm going to keep mine handy. So that way And here comes the Titans pick and. Well, I had Alt in my mock draft, but also the way the board's falling, it could be this because.
But the Cowboys traded up to 7 to get Joe Alt.
Just so you know that I don't mean to say it's worth it, but I think it would be. I'm just saying.
I don't even know what we give up.
I know other people would. I would be willing to give up the 1 this year or 2 this year, and I'm willing to give up a 1 next year for Alt. I know that's a very large price to pay, but I think he's a generational tackle.
Yeah.
But we'll see what the Cowboys do.
Listen, tomorrow's gonna be fun,
and we'll be live for both nights. So I don't know where we'll be live from. We may be live from the streets of Denton, but we will be live somewhere for the draft. I've done too much work to not be able to talk about this on a live show.
Sure.
So it's gonna be a great night tomorrow night. I am super antsy. I get to go to a baseball game today, kind of get my mind off the draft, which is always kind of it's one of those like I needed today to work on some more stuff, but also it'll be good to clear my head and get there and not have to worry about the draft. We'll be doing my annual sit and watch draft day tonight because I love it. It's not a great movie, but it's a fun movie. It's just fun. So thank you guys for listening. We will be live tomorrow. I haven't nailed down the time.
What time does the draft start? 7?
7.
Okay.
So I don't know what time will be live because I don't know where we're doing it from. So I don't know what time will allow us to do. If I have to, go on a Twitter live with my phone microphone for pick 1 because I'm waiting on something, I will do it. There's a chance I don't know where we're doing it from. My goal is to go on about 6:40, 6:45. Because last year I think we did 6:30, and we were just kind of sitting there for 30 minutes just jabbering about the draft, and I like jabbering about the draft, but it can get a little, repetitive. So I wanted to start a little bit closer to the draft this year. So probably 15 to 20 minutes before the draft is my ideal start time. I'm hoping to queue it up so at 6 o'clock, 45-minute countdown, right?
Yeah.
I will send the link to everybody that I think would have interest in watching the draft. I'll post it on my stories. I'll post it everywhere so that, we can try to get some listeners. We will not be able to take callers like I thought. Maybe we will. Maybe something comes up, but I don't expect it. So tomorrow's going to be a very hectic day, but it's draft day. It's an exciting day. And then, of course, night 2 for the first time, we'll be doing a show because I want to talk about more players. And there may be a couple guys that day that I don't have a write-up on, so I'll be kind of winging it a little bit there. But it still is fun. And so we're covering the first 100 picks. Seth has told me he may have to leave towards the start of the 3rd round. But so it'll just be me and you towards the end there. But it'll be fun.
Yeah.
We're going to have a great time. Hopefully we're not punching walls about his Patriots and our Cowboys. But it's going to be a fun night. We hope to see you guys there tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
And we'll see you then.
See you guys.